more people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, smoke is still an issue following the Perk plant fire as outdoor activities in the area have been canceled over health concerns. Plus, 2/3 of the states have a sexual assault tracking system, and some believe it's time for Maine to join them. And the Juniper Ridge landfill is one step closer to expanding after the Maine DEP determined that there would be substantial public benefit. We'll have the full details coming up. Good morning, everyone. I'm Craig Colson. Emma Smith has the day off. We thank you for joining us on this Friday morning. We're going to kick things off with a check of the forecast. If you're heading out this morning, you may notice some areas of fog, so you may want to slow down a little bit and take it easy as you head into work. And then it looks like maybe some rain clouds moving in late tonight into tomorrow, just in time for the weekend. For more on what we can expect, let's kick things off by checking in with Conrad.
Our first weather this morning is brought to you by Irish Collision Center. Irish Collision Center offers expert repairs with a 3D frame measuring system, aluminum repair equipment. Our recent expansion boosts capacity, faster service. We are dedicated to quality every time. Visit us today. All right, folks, air quality alerts have been posted till around midnight on Saturday here in town and then just east as well. So if you are out and about and you're going to be outside for a long period of time, be careful. Maybe put on a mask. Now, this is where these alerts are. You can see the yellow, which means a little bit more of a moderate air quality, not the best everywhere else. New Hampshire, Vermont, we are good to go. Same story closer to Portland, green down the board, besides here in town and then just east. Now, temperature wise, though, we're right at 47 degrees. Greenville's right at 48, a little bit warmer in Machias, Bar Harbor. Remember those 30s just 24 hours ago? Long gone. We're back in those lower 50s to start out our Friday. A great and warmer start to our weekend, which is coming up. It's knocking on our door. Now, yes, we are seeing some clouds outside, but not much at all. We will actually see some increasing clouds later on this afternoon. Temperature-wise, though, well above average. Once again, we're going to be hovering around 70 degrees, just a south wind around 5 to 15 miles per hour. For tonight, though, another very mild night. We're looking at mid-50s, but rain showers will be moving in late. That cloud cover is going to be like a pillow in the atmosphere, keeping things a bit mild. For tomorrow, though, closer to average temperatures, right around 63 degrees. Showers will be in the area as well. Our hour-by-hour forecast does show a little bit mixture of that clouds and sun. Temperatures back in those 60s and lower 70s.
All right, thank you, Conrad. We'll see you later on with your full forecast. Well, in today's news, the Maine Department of Environmental Protection has issued an air quality alert in response to the fire at Eagle Point Energy Center in Orrington, the former Perk plant. Authorities say nothing hazardous has been found at the site following this week's fire, but many people are complaining about breathing problems and other issues because of the smoke that's still coming from that plant. Our Doug Banks has more.
On Thursday, the Maine Department of Environmental Protection released an air quality alert in response to the fire at Eagle Point Energy Center in Orrington that began Tuesday night, specifically in the eastern interior and mid-coast regions of Maine. The DEP says they found ground-level particle pollution concentrations from the smoke that billowed from the waste-energy facility, reaching their unhealthy for sensitive groups level. Officials are asking people to continue precautionary efforts.
Maine DEP put out their recommendations. We made sure our folks were aware of that. All we're doing at this point is hoping for accurate information we can push out to the public so they can make an informed decision.
Outside Orrington's fire department, Fire Chief Scott Stewart says through limited staffing, the fire is contained to the area of origin, but expects it to be several days before it's fully extinguished.
We have several more days before we are going to even be able to think about calling this extinguished. We continue to work with the company, the DEP, and all those folks to make the plan moving forward to finalize this event.
According to one spokesperson, the Bangor School Department has canceled outdoor recess and sporting events. Other schools are following suit.
Surrounding towns have canceled outdoor activities. I certainly support that decision.
For health and safety advice and to stay up to date on Maine DEP's air quality forecast, visit foxbangor.com. In Orrington, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
In other news this morning, a months-long drug investigation in Bangor has landed 3 people in jail. Maine Drug Enforcement Commander Brandon Vafiatis says on October 2nd, agents executed a search warrant at 247 Ohio Street in Bangor after making controlled purchases of fentanyl from 25-year-old Brandon Bautista. He says during the search, agents found over 10 pounds of methamphetamine, more than 3.5 pounds of fentanyl, and over 2 pounds of cocaine. They also found 3 guns and over $120,000 in suspected drug proceeds. WVII says the estimated street value of the drugs is more than $750,000. Bautista, 28-year-old Lacey Sockabasin, and 31-year-old William Wright, all from Bangor, were arrested for aggravated drug trafficking charges. WVII says the residence where the drugs were found sits directly across from the Hilltop Preschool, which made it an aggravated case. Well, 2 people are facing felony drug charges after a traffic stop in Bangor. 31-year-old Jasmine Donovan of Monticello and 29-year-old Sandy Mateo Ruiz of the Dominican Republic were arrested after police stopped their vehicle on Union Street on Tuesday. A statement from the Maine Drug Enforcement Agency says they received information about 2 people traveling to Maine from Massachusetts to distribute drugs in northern Penobscot County. A search of the vehicle turned up 290 grams of fentanyl and $560 in suspected drug proceeds. Both Donovan and Mateo Ruiz are charged with aggravated trafficking of scheduled drugs. A Cornville man has pleaded guilty to accessing child sexual abuse material. FBI agents searched 46-year-old Wade Willette's residence after the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children received a tip about someone uploading videos containing child sexual abuse. The username and email were traced to Willette. In an interview with investigators, Willette allegedly confirmed the account was his, and he had searched for and viewed child sexual abuse material on his phone. He also allegedly confirmed that he had engaged in online conversations about child pornography in the past. According to court records, 2 images of children being sexually abused were found on his phone. Willette now faces up to 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. A Lewiston man has been arrested for assaulting law enforcement during the January 6th Capitol breach. According to court documents, 64-year-old Andre Bono was seen in open source and police body camera footage approaching a bike rack barricade separating officers from rioters on Capitol grounds. Video footage showed Bono allegedly disregarding police orders to get back. Instead, he allegedly grabbed the bike rack and used his body weight to push it into the officers in an apparent attempt to breach the police line. The footage shows Bono allegedly struggling with officers before a chemical irritant was deployed in his direction. Bono faces a number of charges, including assault and resisting or impeding officers. A 3-vehicle crash at McDonald's in Dover-Foxcroft caused extensive damage to that building. Dover-Foxcroft Fire Department Training Officer John Buckingham says they were called to the scene around 2:45 yesterday afternoon for a chain reaction crash.
What appears to happen was a vehicle was backing out of the parking spot and was hit by another vehicle. And when the driver tried to swerve, he hit the brake and the gas at the same time, and the pickup truck hit the red van behind me and drove into the wall of McDonald's.
Pushed the wall into the dining area. Luckily, no one was sitting there at the time. Buckingham says things could have been much worse if they had been. One person was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Buckingham says firefighters spent a couple of hours putting up bracing to make sure that more didn't collapse. He says engineers will come in to assess the building's structural integrity before that restaurant reopens. Well, crews quickly responded to a vehicle crash along Interstate 95 in Old Town yesterday morning. According to the Orono Fire Department, they were called to a single vehicle crash just past exit 193 shortly after 9 a.m. The driver was the only occupant in the vehicle. Officials say he sustained only minor injuries and was not transported to the hospital. The driver was traveling southbound before crashing into the cable barriers. According to state police, the driver stated that he had personally done some work to the front suspension, which failed. Though he was unharmed, the vehicle did sustain significant front-end damage. According to the Maine Coalition Against Sexual Assault, around 2/3 of all states have a tracking system for sexual assault forensic evidence kits. Maine is not one of them. Yet, the coalition is getting ready to launch a pilot program in 2 Maine counties to test kit tracking. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bichard has the story.
That's really, really helpful for survivors because right now the only way for them to get that information is for them to either call the investigating officer or sit around and wait for a phone call.
Currently, if someone experiences sexual assault in Maine, there's an option of going to a hospital and getting forensic evidence collected. They can decide to share that information with the police and have them keep the evidence for up to 20 years. A new program could make it easier to find those files.
Right now, as it stands, patients will go home and they'll have a number for their kid. So for example, if my kid is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? I would have that number and I can go home as a patient survivor and I can just type that into the website and it will pop up and it will tell me your kit is at Bangor Police Department, or your kit is still at St. Joseph's Hospital, or it's at the crime lab being tested.
Fisher says the reason they selected Kennebec and Penobscot counties to test out the program is because stakeholders in those communities already work well together.
So what we really wanted to do was pick a couple of counties where we knew that there was some good teams in place already that already communicated really well, and we've seen that from Penobscot and Kennebec counties.
The current funding, around $90,000, is coming from a grant to help launch the program. In the 131st legislature, a bill received bipartisan support to fund the kit tracking program, but was vetoed by Governor Mills, along with dozens of other bills the legislature passed in the final hours of the session. Fisher is hoping for that same support in the 132nd.
Senator Rick Bennett has already refiled that language for this upcoming session, so that bill will have a different LD number, but our hope is that we can get that passed because we had so much support, bipartisan support last time.
The tracking system is scheduled to go live for the pilot program beginning on November 4th. In Augusta, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, last night, the two candidates for Maine's 2nd Congressional District met, and they went head-to-head for the first time in a debate as we get closer to Election Day on November 5th. According to the University of Maine professor and chair of the Political Science Department, currently Austin Theriault and Jared Golden are in a dead heat, and a debate like this could tip the needle in either candidate's favor.
In this particular debate, the one that's taking place tonight for the 2nd CD, I think it'll be interesting and people will be watching for how both candidates perform, but really Theriault, right? I mean, Golden is, a multi-term incumbent at this point. He's done this on this stage before. Austin Theriault has not done anything of this scale before. And in an ideal world, we want voters to be focusing on substance, right? We want them to be, closely listening to what the candidates say on the issues that are important to them, assessing the candidates' positions in regards to their own position on these issues, and then using, the information they get to shape their vote choice. Some viewers will probably do that. Other viewers will not be doing that, and they will be looking at other things. They'll be looking at how each candidate maybe carries themselves. How do they speak? How do they address each other?
Our media partner, WGME TV down in Portland, and the Bangor Daily News teamed up to present that debate last night. You can see clips of the debate on their websites, and from what I understand, there are expected to be 2 more debates between those two candidates before Election Day. We will keep you up to date. All right, the time now is 6:13. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, the Maine Department of Environmental Protection has said that there would be a substantial public benefit from expanding the Juniper Ridge landfill. Though not everyone sees it that way. We'll hear from both sides coming up. But first, another check of that weather forecast. Today, we'll see some clouds increasing in the area with highs near 69 degrees. Rain showers move in overnight with lows dropping down to the mid-50s. Tomorrow, rain showers are likely with highs near 63. We'll be right back.
I've been on the water since I was 2 days old. Fished up and down the coast from Nantucket to Eastport. I've been paying into Medicare, Social Security my whole life, every paycheck. Those benefits should be there when we retire. But Austin Theriault wants to join extremists in Congress, trying to cut Social Security and Medicare. I earned those benefits. Austin Theriault should not be able to take those away.
DCCC is responsible for the content of this ad. The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna. Colburn Shoe, your mid-coast destination for quality footwear, such as Skechers, Hoka, Blundstone, Dansko, Merrill, and many more. Let us pair your feet with the perfect footwear. Colburn Shoe Store, 79 Main Street, Belfast.
It's Judge Judy's greatest hits with classics like
That's ridiculous. That's a lot of baloney.
Judge Judy
on ABC 7.
Jeopardy is for everybody.
That's amazing.
With players just like you.
Paramedic, a retired teacher, psychiatrist.
The next super champion could be anyone. It could be you.
Oh, wow.
On Jeopardy!
This week at 7:30, only on ABC 7.
Welcome back, everyone. The Juniper Ridge landfill in Old Town is moving closer towards a possible expansion. This comes after the Maine Department of Environmental Protection recently determined a proposal to increase the capacity of the facility would be a benefit to the public. Though environmental advocates say this is a step in the wrong direction. Our Grace Blanchard has more.
Casella Waste Management is one step closer to expanding the Juniper Ridge landfill they operate in Old Town. Maine DEP determined Wednesday there is a substantial public benefit from a proposal to increase the capacity of the state-owned facility.
From a public benefit standpoint, it's clear that this facility serves a wide portion of people and provides the necessary disposal capacity for Maine, not only for Maine residents, but for wastewater treatment facilities.
According to Casella officials, the landfill currently disposes of just over half of Maine's landfill waste and is expected to exhaust that capacity by 2028.
Economically and environmentally, makes a whole lot of sense to expand at a facility that has the infrastructure already established, has space to expand, and has operated at a very high level for the past 20 years since we've been operating it for the state of Maine.
Though environmental advocates say this is a reckless decision and fear an expansion could potentially impact air and water quality in the region.
The Penobscot Nation is impacted by it, like all the local residents, and everyone they've written comments, they've testified at public meetings, and we really feel that Maine DEP and Casella need to take into account people's concerns.
The company must now submit an application for a license to expand before they can move forward. In Old Town, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
A high crash intersection in Orland could be getting a new traffic light. The Maine Department of Transportation is proposing the light at the four-way intersection of Acadia Highway, Upper Falls Road, and Schoolhouse Road. According to DOT figures, there have been 25 crashes there since 2020. DOT Director of Communications Paul Merrill says the intersection came up on the department's safety-wide safety network screening process.
Folks who drive through there know the intersection well. Our numbers show that it deserves some attention, and that's what we're doing, proposing a new signal to make sure that it's safer without unnecessarily gumming things up traffic-wise.
Well, Merrill says the proposed light would stay green unless a vehicle on the side of the road triggers it to turn red. He says they also considered a roundabout, but the light was the most cost-effective way to go. Maine travelers now have another option when booking direct flights to Florida. Breeze Airways debuted at Bangor International Airport on Thursday with service to Orlando. And the airport welcomed them in with a water salute, spraying down the plane shortly after it touched down. Airport officials say this is the fifth airline to be offered at BIA.
It is important for us to continue to diversify the services that we offer, and so a new airline offers that capability. And obviously, if we continue to grow, to expand not just the connectivity to Florida, but it allows the opportunity for us to explore other options outside Florida and out into the western side.
Low-cost airline offers one-way fares starting at just $65. Flights to Tampa through Breeze will start today, and flights to Fort Myers, Florida will begin tomorrow. To schedule a flight and learn more, you can visit flybreeze.com. Great news for people who want to get a quick getaway to the south this winter. All right, the time now is 6:19. Coming up after the break, as the death toll from Hurricane Helene crosses 200, workers risking their lives to help save the people that are still there and help them get back on their feet. We'll have the story as Good Morning Maine continues.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
I was hurt in a bad motorcycle accident. I tried to handle it on my own, but I could tell quickly I was in way over my head. The other driver's insurance company was very difficult to work with. That's why I decided to call Joe. Smartest move I ever made. I went from being completely overwhelmed with doctor's appointments and medical bills to feeling normal again. Joe Bornstein's office took care of everything. I was completely satisfied with the outcome. I wish I'd called sooner.
Call Joe today for a free case evaluation. There's never a fee unless you win.
I'm Jared Golden, and I approve this message.
A new law that outlawed abortion past 6 weeks in all cases.
These laws make me sick and heartbroken.
The government shouldn't be in the examining room.
It's extremists that don't allow women to have choice.
It's none of your business.
Austin Terrio is on the same side as the extremists who want to have a national abortion ban.
And these extremists, they're going to try to control women.
What else will they ban? What else will they monitor? What other privacy will we lose? Austin Terrio scares me.
Welcome back, everyone. More aid is starting to trickle into the hard-hit areas of the southeast as the death toll from Hurricane Helene now passes 200. Fox News correspondent Carolyn Elliott has more from the area.
Plan to be here as long as the community needs us.
Plenty of help starting to get to hard-hit areas of the southeast after a direct hit from Hurricane Helene 1 week ago. There are hundreds dead and missing, hundreds of thousands without power, but we're also seeing plenty of hope and resilience here, with neighbors helping neighbors as the damage assessment continues.
It was amazing to see that community come together. Seeing those people risking their lives for others is very, very important.
There's no telling how many homes and businesses were damaged or destroyed. Some hard-hit communities were essentially wiped off the map, but despite the widespread devastation, most folks in the region say they want to stay and rebuild.
I feel so bad for everybody, and everybody says, I'm sorry, and everybody's sorry, and now it's time to go back to work, and let's get it done.
FEMA and other government agencies are now deploying in big numbers, but transportation remains a major issue. Hundreds of roads are still closed,
meaning food and water are becoming scarce in some isolated communities.
President Biden visited the region for a second straight day on Thursday, telling folks they won't be left behind. One small sign of hope is power outages are slowly getting better in this area. You can see crews behind us working now, which is one small sign of hope for the families that live here. In Swannanoa, North Carolina, Caroline Elliott, Fox News.
It's going to be a very long and slow recovery. All right, the time now is 6:23. Let's get a full look at our weather forecast.
And our main weather this morning is brought to you by Irish Collision Center. Irish Collision Center offers expert repairs with a 3D frame measuring system, aluminum repair equipment. Our recent expansion boosts capacity, faster service. We are dedicated to quality every time. Visit us today. And some dense fog out there this morning, folks. Please slow it down. We are seeing some very, very dense fog all over the state. We haven't seen this in several days, but this is widespread. Can't really get away from this, so slow down this morning. Now, we are going to see some more clouds rolling in. For now, upstate New York, PA, you're seeing those clouds, and then just west, that's where we're seeing this line of showers. That's actually going to be crossing Illinois, Chicago. It's knocking on your door, and then it's going to be moving into our area, mainly late tonight into the day tomorrow, as our futurecast does show that rain really moving in and developing late tonight and then into those morning hours tomorrow. By the afternoon, we're still going to see it, but then things will start to slowly calm down and slow down in the area as well. By Sunday, things will clear up, but then more rain will be back by Monday, as our future rainfall totals does show potentially over an inch of rain in some spots. I do think we're going to get over an inch of rain here in town, especially the more east you go. This is where some places might see even close to 2 inches of rainfall. This is within the next 5 to 6 days. Now, cold temperatures making their way all the way down south from Canada. Look at this, all of these blue colors showing up here. International Falls, which is still the United States, the most northern part of the United States, besides Alaska, of course. below freezing. We're talking upper 20s. So freeze warnings have been issued there. But most of the country, I mean, not too bad, right? Look at Atlanta, look at Florida, Raleigh, D.C., you're back in those mid-60s. New York City, 61 degrees. Playoff baseball is coming up for you starting Sunday. Get ready for that. Let's go Yankees. Oh, yeah. Temperatures, our average is right around 63. We're going to be above that for today, closer to average Saturday and Sunday, and then maybe even below average Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Look at Thursday, my friends. We're looking at mid-50s. These are high temperatures, so of course, those overnight lows will be a lot cooler than that. At least we're looking at some calm winds outside. Rockland, Machias around a 3-mile-per-hour breeze. Still staying on the lighter end with the winds today. Increasing clouds, temperatures right around 70 degrees. For tonight, though, we're looking at mid-50s. Showers moving in late. Light breeze once again. For tomorrow, though, showers will be in the area. Mainly the first half of the day. Temperatures closer to average around 63 degrees. Our extended forecast outlook does show mostly cloudy skies on Sunday. More chances of rain Monday into Tuesday.
It was a fairy tale cruise for this family that almost turned into tragedy. Now this morning, the stunning airlift, the cruise ship doctor who helped save this young boy's life, and the emotional reunion.
I feel like I probably wouldn't still be here if you didn't help me.
On GNA.
Goose River Farm and Meat Store is conveniently located on Route 3 across from Hammond Lumber in Belfast. They have a wide selection of meat and poultry, including beef, pork, lamb, chicken, duck, rabbit, and turkey. Open Tuesday through Saturday.
Apple harvest is on at Truergy Family Orchards. Now is the time to make fall memories. Experience agriculture on a Maine family farm. Open 6 days a week.
The past few years have been challenging for law enforcement, but one thing we've never had to worry about is whether Jared Golden will watch our backs in Washington. Jared isn't afraid to stand up to his own party to keep Mainers safe, voting for billions of dollars for state and local law enforcement and to secure the border. Austin Terrio is something else. He voted against millions of dollars for the state police because the budget came from the other party. We need leaders who put public safety first, and that's Jared Golden.
I'm Jared Golden, and I approve this message.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back now. Now, thousands of dock workers back on the job this morning after striking union members reached a tentative deal. The strike threatened to cost the U.S. economy $4 billion a day and caused major supply chain issues. Both sides have agreed to suspend the strike, meaning the fight is not over yet. Here's ABC's Andrew Dimbert with more.
This morning, the dock workers' strike suspended. Work resuming immediately after an uncertain 3 days that saw ports from Maine to Texas shut down. The disruption could have potentially crippled the U.S. economy, leading to supply shortages and higher retail prices ahead of the holiday shopping season.
Dock workers are going back to work, and the next 90 days we're going to settle everything.
The International Longshoremen's Association, representing 45,000 workers at East and Gulf Coast ports, reaching a deal Thursday to suspend the work stoppage. The tentative agreement with the U.S. Maritime Alliance, which represents the ports and shipping companies, will pause the strike until January 15th. Dock workers are demanding a 77% pay raise over the next 6 years and a total ban on certain forms of automation. The Maritime Alliance has offered a 62% raise, tripled contributions to benefits, and pledged to limit automation. ILA members' current base salary is $81,000 annually, but some can earn $200,000 with overtime. This raise will increase top dock workers' hourly pay from $39 to $63. The CEO of the National Retail Federation celebrating the suspension, writing, "The sooner they reach a deal, the better for all American families." Consumers were already on edge after the strike was announced.
I came in at 9:30. I was waiting online because I know people panic every time they hear something.
Panic buying, clearing toilet paper from shelves at big box stores, despite the fact that the disruption would not have affected domestically produced tissue paper. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Well, moving on to other news now. A series of massive blasts rocked Beirut's southern suburbs late Thursday night into Friday morning, shaking buildings miles away from the capital. Lebanon's state-run national news agency reported more than 10 consecutive airstrikes in the area. It was not immediately clear what was targeted or if there were any casualties. The strikes come amid an ongoing escalation in the year-long conflict between Israel and the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah. Israel sent troops into southern Lebanon on Tuesday. More than 1.2 million Lebanese have been displaced by the Israeli attacks, and nearly 2,000 people have been killed since the start of the Israeli attacks on Lebanon over the last year, most of them occurring in just the past 2 weeks. Well, nearly 1 month to go until Election Day, and Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Trump are heading to the battleground states today. Trump in North Carolina and Georgia. Harris is heading to Michigan after picking up an endorsement from another Republican. ABC's Perry Russum with that story.
Vice President Kamala Harris in Wisconsin standing side by side with former Wyoming Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney.
I tell you, I have never voted for a Democrat. But this year, I am proudly casting my vote for Vice President Kamala Harris.
Cheney was a member of the January 6th committee and is the daughter of former conservative Vice President Dick Cheney, who also endorsed Harris.
As you said, we may not see eye to eye on every issue, and we are going to get back to a healthy two-party system. I am sure of that, where we will have vigorous debates.
Trump responding to the Liz Cheney endorsement on Fox News.
Well, Liz Cheney lost for Congress. She was terrible. Liz Cheney is a stupid war hawk.
Trump at a rally in Michigan promising to add manufacturing jobs by increasing U.S. production. Trump speaking a day after federal prosecutors unveiled new evidence against him in the case where he's accused of plotting to overturn the 2020 election. Trump denies all wrongdoing. Trump once again yesterday repeating the false claim that he won in 2020.
We did great in 2016. A lot of people don't know. We did much better in 2020. We won. We won. We did win. It was a rigged election. It was a rigged election.
Trump heads back to Butler, Pennsylvania tomorrow, the site of the first assassination attempt. The Secret Service is making changes to his protection. It includes large white tents where Trump is set to speak. Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
And coming up on the second half of the broadcast, new benches that were built and donated to bus stops. The city of Portland is saying they must be removed now, no matter how much everyone wants them to stay. We'll have that story and more coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Your favorite restaurants were half off. It's half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7. Go to foxbangor.com, click on half off dining, and start saving now.
Noah's Ark Food and Ice Cream is located 5 miles off exit 244 in Medway. We offer homemade pizza, mouth-watering cheeseburgers, lobster rolls, and scallops. Noah's Ark Food and Ice Cream. Stop by for a delicious bite to eat and dessert too.
Great restaurants from all over Eastern Maine at half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7.
Does your dream kitchen look like this? Or this? Or maybe you need a little more inspiration. Get it when you explore the complete in-store showroom displays at Hammond Lumber Company. When you find the look you like, the Hammond team will help you customize it, including accurate 3D renderings, so you can visualize your project before the work begins. Hammond offers delivery from any of the locations across Maine and New Hampshire and professional service after the sale. Your dream kitchen begins when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company.
For the third year running, Designs by Erin is thrilled to present the Singer State Collection. Join us on October 22nd from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. in downtown Bangor for a one-day-only event. Dive into a dazzling array of vintage, antique, and contemporary jewelry, plus exclusive designer and celebrity pieces including stunning gems once owned by Amy Winehouse, Michael Jackson, and more. Don't let this spectacular event slip through your fingers. Join us at Designs by Erin on October 22nd and discover something truly extraordinary.
Ready to refresh your home? Fall into savings with incredible deals at the Furniture Gallery. Shop new arrivals from top brands like Ashley, Serta, Restonic, Nectar, and Franklin. Fall in love with unbeatable deals like our sofa and love seat sets for only $9.99 or sofas starting at $3.99. Indulge in ultimate comfort with over 150 recliner styles starting at just $2.99. My family and I are committed to giving you the best value for your money at the Furniture Gallery. Support our main family-owned business and save money. The Furniture Gallery.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Friday, October 4th, 2024, and you might notice some of our news anchors today wearing pink. I've got my favorite pink tie on today. It is to celebrate and to observe Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The month of October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month in Maine, and we're joining our friends over at Northern Light Hospital who will also be wearing pink today just to raise awareness and to show support to the many people out there who have been battling breast cancer. I just lost a good friend of mine just a few weeks ago to that terrible disease. So hopefully a lot of people will wear pink today to show some solidarity to join in the battle. All right, meanwhile, not only is it National Cinnamon Roll Day, it is also National Taco Day today as well. Maybe you can start your day with a nice gooey cinnamon roll and then polish off some tacos tonight to celebrate. Time for history. On this day in history, back in 1895, the very first U.S. Open golf tournament took place in Newport, Rhode Island, of all places. In 1927, the sculptors began carving the faces of the U.S. presidents on Mount Rushmore in South Dakota's Black Hills National Forest. I believe it took them about a dozen years to complete the faces. In 1957, the space age got underway after the Soviet Union launched the world's first artificial satellite into orbit. The U.S. was caught off guard by the launching of Sputnik, and the effort to catch up marked the beginning of the space race. In 1970, singer Janis Joplin died from an accidental overdose in Los Angeles. She was just 27 years old. In 1976, Barbara Walters joined Harry Reasoner at the anchor desk for the ABC Evening News. She became the very first woman to co-host a network evening news program, a real pioneer in this industry. In 1990, Beverly Hills 90210 appeared on TV and became a big hit. In 1997, the second largest cash robbery in U.S. history was committed. 24 people were convicted of stealing $17.3 million from the Loomis Fargo vaults in Charlotte, North Carolina. Much of that money, about 88% of it, was recovered. And finally, in 2002, American John Walker Lynn received a 20-year sentence after he was caught fighting alongside the Taliban in Afghanistan. He was later released in 2019. For birthdays today, they include actress Dakota Johnson, who is 35 years old today. Actor Christopher Waltz is 68. The guy's just fantastic. And country singer Heidi Newfield is 54 years old today. We'd like to wish them all a happy birthday. As far as the weather's concerned, it looks like a cloudy day ahead today. It looks like that's the way it's going to be heading into the weekend too. And some rain is going to start falling late tonight into tomorrow. Let's check back in with Conrad for a look at the forecast.
Our first weather this morning is brought to you by Irish Collision Center. Irish Collision Center offers expert repairs with a 3D frame measuring system, aluminum repair equipment. Our recent expansion boosts capacity, faster service. We are dedicated to quality every time. Visit us today. All right, folks, air quality alerts have been posted till around midnight on Saturday here in town and then just east as well. So if you are out and about and you're going to be outside for a long period of time, be careful. Maybe put on a mask. Now, this is where these alerts are. You can see see the yellow, which means a little bit more of a moderate air quality. Not the best everywhere else. New Hampshire, Vermont, we are good to go. Same story closer to Portland. Green down the board, besides here in town and then just east. Now, temperature-wise, though, we're right at 47 degrees. Greenville's right at 48. A little bit warmer in Machias, Bar Harbor. Remember those 30s just 24 hours ago? Long gone. We're back in those lower 50s to start out our Friday. A great and warmer start to our weekend, which is coming up. It's knocking on our door. Now, yes, we are seeing some clouds outside, but not much at all. We will actually see some increasing clouds later on this afternoon. Temperature-wise, though, well above average. Once again, we're going to be hovering around 70 degrees, just a south wind around 5 to 15 miles per hour. For tonight, though, another very mild night. We're looking at mid-50s, but rain showers will be moving in late. That cloud cover is going to be like a pillow in the atmosphere, keeping things a bit mild. For tomorrow, though, closer to average temperatures, right around 63 degrees. Showers will be in the area as well. Our hour-by-hour forecast does show a little bit of mixture of that clouds and sun. Temperatures back in those 60s and lower 70s.
All right, thank you, Conrad. Well, there's no place to sit at most of the city bus stops down in South Portland. That was before someone built 8 new benches. But as Brad Rogers shows us, the city now says those benches must go, no matter how bad some builders and some people in the area want them to stay.
This bus stop bench and 7 others like it were built for free by a young carpenter from South Portland. He says he got the idea when his car broke down and he started riding Metro buses.
I spent a lot of time standing at that exact bus stop and thinking, wow, it would be really great if there were a bench here to sit on.
Tris Howard also saw a lot of seniors standing at bus stops.
Yeah, I thought that was nice that you don't meet people that do things like that anymore, so I thought that was thoughtful.
South Portland city leaders say as much as they appreciate this kind gesture, the benches must be removed because they're in direct violation of federal, state, and city transit guidelines. For one thing, all benches must have a 5x8 concrete pad to be ADA compliant. The city's communications director says benches in a right-of-way can be hazardous, impact accessibility, interfere with sidewalk and road maintenance, and allowing the benches could open the city up to lawsuits. Howard says the city council could ask Maine DOT for an exception. The city won't do that.
I think it's wrong because he's trying to help people. He's trying to give them a place to sit. I have to sit on the sidewalk when I'm waiting for a bus. It's not right. I'm 67 years old.
Howard says right now he has no choice but to remove the benches. He plans to do so tonight.
Public Works asked me to get them gone by the end of this week.
The city says parks would be a nice place for these benches, but Tris Howard still wants them at bus stops. He'll plead his case to the city council next week.
I'm holding off on my disappointment until I get official word back from the city council, which has not yet had a meeting, and the DOT, which hasn't replied to me at all.
Now, the city says they've secured grant funds to add bus shelters in high ridership areas. No decision yet, though, on where or when those shelters get built.
And that was Brad Rogers reporting. When we come back, Tyler Cruz with all the day sports news. Don't go away.
That nip in the air can only mean one thing. Dorsey's fall introductions have arrived, and we need to make room. Hundreds of items have been marked down store-wide. Flexsteel Thornton sofa in a great quality Revolution fabric, list price $23.99, now only $8.99. Power reclining lift chair that lists for $10.99, now only $5.99. Dorsey's fall clearance is a perfect time to get any room in your home ready for the winter months. Dorsey Furniture, Route 1A, Holden.
Class-leading safety features at every turn. A Hyundai Tucson.
Get 1.99% APR for 60 months on the Hyundai Tucson or Tucson Hybrid. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
Back by popular demand, the Lucerne Inn in Dedham presents its amazing Sunday brunch. Join us every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. for a culinary experience like no other. Indulge in an exquisite selection of dishes, all while enjoying breathtaking views. Seating is limited, so reservations are recommended, but walk-ins are always welcome. The Lucerne Inn Sunday Brunch, where great food meets a spectacular view. Call today to reserve your spot.
Hey, good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Every day of your life.
Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. It's a busy weekend for Maine hockey, and that doesn't just include this year's squad. On Friday night, the 1999 National Championship team will be inducted into the UMaine Hall of Fame with the class of 2024. Friday, the team will be honored at the induction ceremony, and on Saturday, before the Black Bears open the season, members of the team will mingle with fans for a special meet and greet opportunity at the new Wells Central Pub on campus. That all starts at 4 p.m. This year is also the 25th anniversary of the national championship. Current assistant coach Alfie Michaud was the Black Bears goalie that year, earning Most Outstanding Player of the Frozen Four. We caught up with Michaud this week, and he says they just had a special group that season.
Everybody played for each other. You know, we're a lunch pail team, so to speak. Nobody really expected a lot from us, and but we knew what we had in the locker room. And then obviously, you know, we rallied around the tragic death of Richie Britt, and we came together at the right time. We just had a really cohesive group. Now, there's not anything one of those guys wouldn't do for me, and vice versa.
Michaud spent 16 years in the pros after the 1999 season, and then he returned to Maine as an assistant in 2016, and he has been in Orono since. He says he's most excited to see some of his old teammates this weekend, and when asked what brought him back to Orono after his career, he says Maine is just a special place.
This is probably the best 3-4 years of your life. History, you make friendships forever, and I'm no different. This is everything to me. I met my wife. My wife's from Maine. All three of my girls were born in Maine. I know it's a real honor, and you take it to heart, and you try to do your best to get it back to what it once was.
Staying at the University of Maine now to Mahaney Diamond, where Maine women's soccer is back home hosting UMass Lowell in America East action. This one had a real playoff feel to it. Only in October, though. We pick it up in the first half. Abby Kramer with a beautiful touch pass here to set up Jordan Panette. She can't get the shot off, but what a touch by Kramer. Good chance for the Black Bears. Later in the first, Kayla Kramer sends a cross into the box. It gets loose and almost goes into the net, but look at the save from the UMass Lowell defense right there. Swats it out just in time, and then it's Panette again with a chance in the box, this time hitting the crossbar. So close for Maine, but finally in the second half, who else but Abby Kramer would break through for the Black Bears. Here she is burying the only goal to give Maine the 1-0 win in a massive conference matchup. To Ellsworth now, where the Eagles boys soccer coach just reached a major milestone. Mark Ensworth secured his 100th win on Tuesday night as the Eagles took down the Herman Hawks. Here in those wins during his time at George Stevens Academy and the past 3 years at Ellsworth. Ensworth gives credit to his players and his assistant coaches throughout his career, while admitting he wasn't even planning on telling the group.
I actually wasn't even going to tell my players, but my wife told my kids, and they let the cat out of the bag, I guess. But I mean, the players make the program. You know, the people that you bring into the program make the program. So I've just been lucky to have a lot of great people around me.
It means a lot to me. Like getting to be a part of a big milestone really means a lot.
Ensworth is a physical education teacher at Ellsworth High, and he says developing those relationships and being a mentor to his players throughout the years means much more than the 100 wins.
Honestly, it feels amazing. You know, he's just like one step away. You know, personally for me, he's always making sure I keep my grades above an 80, you know, just so I can pass and, you know, get into a good college.
You kind of see something developing, you can pull him aside, you know, hey, come down to my office real quick, let's talk this out. And it creates a nice open door policy. I mean, I get kids, and they just shoot me a message, hey, coach, can I come talk to you real quick? You know, they pop in my office, you know, we sit down, we have a conversation. So we were able to kind of smooth things out on any issues that might come up before they really become problems.
Big congratulations to him. Some other scores from around the high school sports scene today. Skowhegan with a field hockey victory, 1-0 over Lawrence. Mount View beats George Stevens in boys soccer, 3-1. In girls soccer, Brewer posts a shutout, a close game over Hamden Academy, 1-0. And then Bucksport beats MDI in girls soccer, 3-2. Moving on to some baseball now, and when the Portland Sea Dogs hit the field next spring, there will be a brand new clubhouse for the home team and a brand new name for the field they play on. Hadlock Field will have a new look and a new name next season. It will be Delta Dental Park at Hadlock Field. The Sea Dogs and Delta Dental agreeing on a 10-year partnership on Thursday. Longtime Sea Dogs president Jeff Iaquesa says it is a perfect match for the team and the Maine baseball community.
We have entered into a naming rights agreement for the ballpark with our great friends and community partners at Delta Dental to formally rename the ballpark Delta Dental Park at Hadlock Field.
All right, sounds like should be a blast next season. That is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Join the swab experts at Puritan Medical Products. For more than 100 years, Puritan has been the trusted name in single-use swabs and transport devices.
We have immediate openings for first and second shift seasonal production workers at our Guilford and Pittsfield locations. With competitive wages, holiday pay, and time off, you'll work from September through December with the opportunity to return each season.
Apply today at puritanmedproducts.com/careers or email human resources at puritanmedproducts.com for more info.
Pro football fans, it's You Pick'em NFL, the Pro Football Challenge from Fox 22. Go to foxbangor.com, click on You Pick'em, and go to You Pick'em NFL. Make your picks, and you could be the weekly winner of either a $25 gift certificate from Chase's Family Restaurant in Bangor or from Chick-fil-A in Bangor. Brought to you by Moral Break and More in Brewer, Old Town Redemption Center, Quality Automotive in Brewer, and Twin City Tile in Brewer. It's You Pick'em NFL from foxbangor.com.
Whether you have a $15,000 fender bender or a surgery case worth $1 million, call the Twos.
Fortunately, my accident wasn't that bad, but I called the Twos and Lowry & Associates still got me $20,000.
My husband was in a very serious accident and needed back surgery. We called the Twos and Lowry & Associates got him $450,000.
Big cases and small, we handle them all. Call us. We win for you. Call 222-2222.
More and more American children aren't getting the recommended childhood vaccinations. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says a record number of kindergartners were exempted from those required shots for the last school year. Health experts say that leaves more than 125,000 young students unprotected. Measles vaccinations among kindergartners is already below the federal target, and in July, cases of the disease in the U.S. were triple that of all in 2023. Vaccines for other diseases like polio and tetanus also dropped, and data reveals the majority of those exemptions were for non-medical reasons. All right, now a final look at your forecast. Looks like some rain moving in tonight. Here's Conrad Sapinski with your full weather forecast.
And our Maine weather this morning is brought to you by Irish Collision Center. Irish Collision Center offers expert repairs with a 3D frame measuring system, aluminum repair equipment. Our recent expansion boosts capacity, faster service. We are dedicated to quality every time. Visit us today. And some dense fog out there this morning, folks. Please slow it down. We are seeing some very, very dense fog all over the state. We haven't seen this in several days, but this is widespread. Can't really get away from this, so slow down this morning. Now, we are going to see some more clouds rolling in. For now, upstate New York, PA, you're seeing those clouds, and then just west, that's where we're seeing this line of showers. That's actually going to be crossing Illinois, Chicago. It's knocking on your door, and then it's going to be moving into our area, mainly late tonight into the day tomorrow, as our futurecast does show that rain really moving in and developing late tonight and then into those morning hours tomorrow. By the afternoon, we're still going to see it, but then things will start to slowly calm down and slow down in the area as well. By Sunday, things will clear up, but then more rain will be back by Monday, as our future rainfall totals does show potentially over an inch of rain in some spots. I do think we're going to get over an inch of rain here in town, especially the more east you go. This is where some places might see even close to 2 inches of rainfall. This is within the next 5 to 6 days. Now, cold temperatures making their way all the way down south from Canada. Look at this, all of these blue colors showing up here. International Falls, which is still the United States, the most northern part of the United States, besides Alaska, of course, below freezing. We're talking upper 20s, so freeze warnings have been issued there. But most of the country, I mean, not too bad, right? Look at Atlanta, look at Florida, Raleigh, D.C., you're back in those mid-60s. New York City, 61 degrees. Playoff baseball is coming up for you starting Sunday. Get ready for that. Let's go Yankees. Oh, yeah. Temperatures, our average is right around 63. We're going to be above that for today, closer to average Saturday and Sunday, and then maybe even below average Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Look at Thursday, my friends. We're looking at mid-50s. These are high temperatures, so of course, those overnight lows will be a lot cooler than that. At least we're looking at some calm winds outside. Rockland, Machias around a 3-mile-per-hour breeze. Still staying on the lighter end with the winds today. Increasing clouds, temperatures right around 70 degrees. For tonight, though, we're looking at mid-50s. Showers moving in late. Light breeze once again. For tomorrow, though, showers will be in the area. Mainly the first half of the day. Temperatures closer to average around 63 degrees. Our extended forecast outlook does show mostly cloudy skies on Sunday. More chances of rain Monday into Tuesday.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
When Rowell's Garage in Dover Foxcroft wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Rowell's Garage has been serving customers in the greater Dover Foxcroft region since 1946. Our goal is not just selling you a vehicle, but also giving you quality service to maintain your vehicle at peak performance.
As temperatures drop, fall colors emerge. Reds, yellows, and of course, Kubota Orange. Forget the greens and make your neighbors orange with envy with a new Kubota tractor from Doors Equipment in Bangor. Get your work done right with Kubota and Doors. From home to farm, from landscaping to construction, the Doors are open to value, quality, and top-notch service. This fall, make them orange with envy at Doors Equipment, Outer Hammond Street, Bangor.
I got hurt by a big truck. Why did I call the twos? Because life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money, and I'll fight to get it for you. We got a client who broke multiple bones in a commercial vehicle accident, $700,000. Another client had a brain injury, and we got them $1.15 million. If you get hurt by a big truck, call the twos. We win for you.
Hurt by a big truck? Call the twos. We win for you.
A beautiful young nurse brutally murdered in cold blood. There was a bite mark.
The bite came from a woman.
Investigators began zeroing in on veteran of the LAPD.
2020, tonight on ABC.
The Maine Forest and Logging Museum will host their annual Living History Days this weekend, the biggest event of the year for that museum in Bradley, featuring colonial and Civil War reenactors, fresh pressed cider, the historically significant Lombards, which will be up and running, and also horse-drawn wagon rides, and much more. Tickets can be purchased at the event, $15 for adults and just $5 for kids. To learn more, you can head to their website at maineforestandloggingmuseum.org. And police and firefighters in New Hampshire have responded to an unusual call, a moose trapped in a backyard swimming pool. Video shot by police shows rescuers removing a pool covering after arriving at that home at around 8:45 Thursday morning to reveal the adult moose standing there in the water. After the cover was removed, the moose, as you see, strolled out of the shallow end of the pool and headed to a wooded area next to the home. Bedford Police Chief Daniel Doody says in a statement that no people or animals were harmed during that rescue operation. Just a moose that ended up in the wrong location. All right, that's it for now, folks. We thank you so much for joining us. We'll continue broadcasting on Fox 22 for the next couple of hours. But if you're heading out for the day, we hope you have a wonderful day.
Join us every Friday this season as we celebrate the return to the gridiron with the most highlights, reactions, and analysis of your favorite teams. Catch Sports Blitz Friday at 11 on ABC 7. Sports Blitz is brought to you by Coastal Auto Parts, your local Napa Auto Parts dealer with 30 locations, owned and operated by a Maine family that cares. And by Dorsey Furniture, Route 1A Holden, where you'll find furniture that's in stock and ready for delivery.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
The apple harvest is on at Truergy Family Orchards. Now is the time to make fall memories. Experience agriculture on a Maine family farm. Open 6 days a week.
Maine's largest network of parts just got a little bigger. Coastal Auto Parts, newest location in Bangor, has all your automotive needs to get you to the moments that matter most. Whether you're a professional mechanic or just need a little help, find everything you need all under one roof. Our knowledgeable staff is here to assist you with friendly service and expert advice right here at 200 Sylvan Road, just off I-95. Drive in, stock up, and hit the road with confidence. Coastal Auto Parts is owned and operated by a Maine family that cares.
When R&K Variety in Hamden wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. R&K Variety is more than just a convenience store, offering fresh cooked meals that don't break the bank, gasoline for your mean machines, or beer and wine so your night is fine. Stop by today.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Good morning, America. Shipping ports reopen.
Worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Coming up today on Good Morning Maine, smoke is still an issue following the Perk plant fire as outdoor activities in the area are being canceled over health concerns. Plus, 2/3 of the states have a sexual assault tracking system in place, and some believe it's time for Maine to join them. And the Juniper Ridge landfill is one step closer to expanding after the Maine DEP determined that there would be substantial public benefit to do so. Not everyone's happy about that. Those are just a few of the stories we have coming up for you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Craig Colson. Emma Smith has the day off. We thank you for joining us. We're going to kick things off with a check of the forecast. Looks like we'll see a cloudy day ahead today. And if you're heading out this morning, you might even notice some areas of fog. I certainly saw some when I headed in.